66 million years ago, in the dying days of the dinosaurs, a creature walked the floodplains of North America, carrying a weapon system on its face unlike anything evolution had built before. 3 horns, a shield of solid bone stretching almost 2 meters wide, and a beak sharp enough to slice through the toughest plants on Earth. This is not a myth. This is not a movie monster. This is a documented, excavated, museum-verified reality, reconstructed bone by bone from fossils dug out of the American Badlands. This is the story of Triceratops horridus, told entirely through the physical evidence left behind.
Triceratops means 3-horned face, a name given by paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh in 1889, when the very first skull fragments were mistaken for those of an ancient bison. It was only when a complete skull was later unearthed that scientists realized they weren't looking at a mammal at all. They were looking at one of the last and largest ceratopsian dinosaurs to ever exist. Every specimen recovered since then tells the same story. A massive skull, sometimes measuring over 2 meters in length, nearly a third of the animal's entire body, built not just for display, but for survival. Look closely at the front of this skull. 2 long brow horns curve upward above the eyes, while a shorter horn sits above the nose. This wasn't decoration. Bone density studies and horn core scarring found on multiple specimens suggest these horns were used in combat, most likely against rival Triceratops during territorial or mating disputes. Early illustrations from the 19th century, drawn directly from excavated bone, already captured this unmistakable 3-horned silhouette, a design so effective that it barely changed across the different species classified within the genus. When you place several skulls side by side, as museums often do, subtle differences appear. Horn curvature, frill shape and size, which paleontologists use to distinguish individual animals, growth stages, and even possible species variation. Behind the horns lies the frill, a broad plate of bone extending from the back of the skull. For decades, scientists debated its purpose. Was it for protection, display, temperature regulation? Fossil evidence, including bite marks matching Tyrannosaurus teeth found on frill bones, suggests it may have served all 3 roles at different points in the animal's life. This specimen, mounted on a display stand alongside a distribution map, is one of many that helped scientists trace the geographic range of Triceratops, primarily the Hell Creek and Lance formations of the western United States, dated to the very end of the Cretaceous period. Museum specimens like this one, carefully labeled and catalogued, aren't just exhibits. Each carries a scientific case number, excavation history, and geological data that researchers use to cross-reference age, health, and cause of death. Signs asking visitors not to touch these skulls aren't just about preservation for looks. The surface texture of the bone itself, every crack and groove, is data. Touching it can erode information that took millions of years to form and only decades to study. This is where the story actually begins. Not in a museum hall, but buried under layers of ancient sediment. a partially exposed horn and skull, still embedded in the rock matrix, mark the first moment a paleontologist realizes they found something significant. Excavation is slow, deliberate work. Fossils this large are rarely lifted out in one piece. Instead, teams expose the bone gradually, using small tools and brushes, mapping every fragment before it's ever moved. Because once removed from its original position, that contextual data is lost forever. Large sections are often encased in plaster jackets, similar to a cast, to protect fragile bone during transport to a laboratory, where the real work of cleaning and reconstruction begins. Back in the lab, technicians compare original fossil bone, the darker, mineralized material, with cast replicas used to fill in missing sections. This composite image shows exactly that process. Brown patches are authentic fossilized bone, while the gray sections are scientifically accurate reconstructions based on related specimens. Once a skull is stabilized, museums often move toward mounting a full skeletal reconstruction. Placards like this one summarize what decades of fossil analysis have confirmed. Triceratops lived around 66 to 68 million years ago, was herbivorous, could grow up to 9 meters long, and weighed between 6 and 9 metric tons. A fully mounted skeleton, like this one displayed in a major natural history museum, allows visitors and scientists to study body proportions in 3 dimensions. The short, thick limbs built for supporting immense weight, the barrel-shaped rib cage, and the low center of gravity suited to a slow, powerful gait rather than speed. Close examination of the skeletal mount reveals how the front limbs were positioned, a subject of long scientific debate. Early reconstructions placed the legs sprawled out to the sides, like a modern lizard. Trackway fossils and joint socket analysis later proved this wrong. The legs were actually held more upright beneath the body. This upright stance meant Triceratops could move with more stability and endurance than earlier artists imagined, essential for an animal constantly navigating a landscape shared with the era's dominant predator. Specimens and casts of Triceratops have traveled far beyond their original discovery sites. This mount, displayed in a museum alongside unrelated historical artifacts, shows how these fossils have become part of public science education far outside North America. Modern exhibit design increasingly uses dramatic lighting and staging, not for spectacle alone, but to highlight anatomical detail that flat, evenly lit displays often hide. The texture of the frill, the curvature of the spine, the sheer scale of the animal against a human visitor. Some of the most complete Triceratops skeletons ever found are now centerpieces of major touring exhibitions, drawing visitors specifically to see fossil evidence rather than replicas, a distinction museums are increasingly careful to label for scientific transparency. And then, roughly 66 million years ago, the story ends abruptly. The asteroid impact at Chicxulub triggered the mass extinction event that wiped out all non-avian dinosaurs, including Triceratops, one of the very last dinosaur species to walk the Earth before that boundary. Every skull we've examined in this documentary comes from that final chapter of the Cretaceous, meaning every fossil is, in a very real sense, a snapshot of the last generation of its kind. What makes Triceratops remarkable isn't just its size or its horns,
It's how much of its story survives written directly into bone. Every crack, every scar, every plaster-filled gap tells scientists something new about how it lived, fought, and died. 66 million years later, we are still reading that story, one fossil at a time. If you enjoyed this journey through the evidence, subscribe for more deep dives into the fossil record, and let us know in the comments which dinosaur you want us to reconstruct next.